This crazy world we are in, crypto world.
How you doing, Nico?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Pretty good.
All right. We are now live. Let me just move back over here. All right. Wow. We got a lot of people on today and still climbing. All right. Let me just move this over here. All right. Welcome, 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 everybody. Happy Friday. If you're brand new and you just joined Crypto Renegades, onboarding is at 2 p.m. Eastern time today after this call. I do have a hard stop at 1:30, which is about an hour and a half from now. So we got plenty of time to go over things. But I do have a urgent meeting with my CPA. I know some of you guys have asked for contact information for who I use for different things. So please don't think I forgot about you. I did see your messages, but if you need if there's anything you are waiting on, you're welcome to message me again with a reminder. But the reason why I haven't shared my personal CPA yet is because well, he's in the middle of finishing something for me, but at the same time, I don't want him to get inundated with too many people. But what I did decide to do, and what I talked to him about, is actually doing a Zoom call with him. They are familiar with crypto as well, and the main thing with, by the way, guys, the main thing, I'm just going to share this before we get into the charts, is that it's not a matter of what asset it is. Crypto, real estate, doesn't matter. It's what you use as holding companies and how you structure yourself. There are specific assets for digital currency and things like that for crypto, but it's all a matter of how you're structuring yourself. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter if you have $500 worth of crypto. If you have tens of thousands, then it becomes something a little bit more important that you need to protect yourself with. But either way, I mean, it's good to know the information and have the information and know what you're working towards.
Hey, Nico, I did message you on that. Do you think you will be setting up a Zoom call just on the structure of how to like settle that up and stuff like that?
Yeah. Did you message me about that or something else?
No, I did message you about that, about how you have your structure as far as how you're running the whole like the whole structure of it in terms of using the I forgot what it's called, but I know that another member had messaged me about it, and then I just messaged you just to see if you had any additional information.
Yeah. Yeah. Just shoot me another message. I apologize, guys. Did I respond to you at all?
No, I haven't got a reply.
Let me just look real quick because yeah, if I didn't, then there was an issue too with some DMs because some people are saying that they sent DMs, but also I got to be friends. So let me just look real quick because I have messages and message requests. And then if I go into message request, like if we're not, I don't even see the message unless I've accepted your message request. And sometimes it's a little bit of a pain in the neck with Discord that if you're not already a friend on Discord, I don't even see the message.
Oh, that's probably it because I had to send a friend request and I haven't even gotten a reply on that. So that's probably the issue.
Mike, yeah. Oh, I didn't accept your friend request, but I did see. I'm going to do that right now. All right, there we go. Okay, yeah, I got it. All right, so I'll be responding to you. Bear with me on that, guys. It's not, I'm not ignoring you. It's just that I think that it would be better just to have him come on a call one of these days and just make a blanket offer and then put you guys into a separate category for his team to get people situated with instead of one at a time, you know? All right, so I'm gonna share my screen now. Got some action going on here with several things happening. I did post a signal for Zcash because I mean I I feel bad that we didn't get on this earlier, guys, but I was not watching or even it was not even on my radar because this is why, because this is what it's been doing for a long time, way down here. And I didn't know that Zcash was up to anything. So this explosive move over the last month and a half from like $25 up to 700, I mean, is insane, right? Obviously, that's like a 20x move to the upside and would have been some serious gains. Now, since I did my signal just this morning, I posted this, gave a signal here today at 9:28 a.m. Just since then, let's see, I'm up 108%, $737. That's kind of crazy at 10x leverage. And such a quick. Now, that doesn't mean we can't have a huge dump and a big pullback on this, because as you can see, as it's climbed, and every time we have a huge pump up, we've had some big pullbacks. Climb up, pull back, climb up, pull back, climb up, pull back, climb up, pull back. And I think when I gave the signal, it was in the middle of a pullback. And it did pop right up after that. But we could have a big dump down after this whole pump, guys. So don't forget to take profits. It does look like I did have some drawing on this from previous charting. This was, I didn't even do this today. This was because the signal I gave you was from my cell phone first. This was from my cell phone. And then when I went long here, this was from my laptop upstairs. And so this computer here, this drawing was already on here previously. And obviously it broke out of that big time over the last, well, I guess since November 5th. So just 2 days ago, guys, this all happened. So that was at 480, about $480 all the way up to $700 just in 2 days. Crazy. So that's kind of exciting. Anybody have insight on Zcash other than, guys, this is a privacy token. They're known for privacy. I know that maybe the Winklevoss twins, which Gemini probably have something to do with it. They're behind it from what I understand.
Chad's wife was on the, he said, Chad said that his wife was on the long at $41. So you might
Yeah,
have one
I think
side.
I think she sold it like 70 or 80. She made good money on it, but I don't think she expected it to go up 10, 20 more X. Crazy. Just 185, I mean 35% just in the last 24 hours. So we'll keep an eye on that. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, and the reason why I focus on Bitcoin, guys, it is the ship, it is the tide that rises and lowers all boats in most cases, other than Zcash, obviously. Zcash is not correlating with Bitcoin at all right now. So, but a lot of these other ones are. All you got to do is click this up here, and you see when Bitcoin's going up, most everything else is. But some of them are going up at much higher rates, like AIA is pumping. But I'm not, holy shit. I'm not I'm not looking at all the altcoins, guys. I'm teaching how to trade on Bitcoin futures contracts. You guys are more than welcome to go try and find these ones that are just going parabolic. And there's nothing wrong with, getting in on them, but you have to understand, when something's gone sideways like this for so long, down here at the 12 cents range, I mean, this is insane too, because look at this. This is just September, October was 80 cents, and it has every time it does have this big spike. Let's just zoom in and look at it. So we're down here at 20 cents. We have this huge spike up, and then it comes back down almost even lower. This wick down. This was the 10th when everything else dumped, but then it held up here at a higher level at 80 cents to $1 and went sideways, had a couple pumps. Now this one here pumped way up all the way to like $20. I mean, insane pump here. And I'm just assuming this is AI token. And where's it coming down to? Possibly to these levels. It could come down to either, I mean, it is bouncing right here at $6, but we do have previous resistance down here. But even if it comes down here, back down and starts consolidating here, it's very similar to what it's been doing. So it's stepping up. So we had 20 cents and then it consolidated and then went sideways at $1 for a long time. And now it pumped up. I mean, it's pumped up and way up here. Now it's going to come back down and maybe it's just going to go sideways for a while at $4, at $3 or $4 range. So every time it does this, from, just do the math here, 30 cents to $1, that's a 3x consolidation, 3x pump, and then consolidating at a 3x price range. This is a $1 to $20. That's a 20x pump. And then consolidation back down here at the $5 to $6 range. It seems to just keep getting higher in those increments. So do I know what's going to happen next? No, I'm not familiar exactly with this token. All I can do is look at price action and the history of it. But if we just look at the previous highs here and we draw a resistance line, resistance, 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 this is probably where it might come down to consolidate right in that range. So I would not go long on this yet. I mean, it could bounce where it's at right now, but I think possibly in this range somewhere. So I'd be careful on things like that. So this is why I stick to the ones I want to accumulate the most of. Let's go look at XRP. XRP could have its moment anytime now, guys. There's all kinds of things going on. This could be looked at as a double bottom here. And let's look at this downward trend, this overall downward trending channel that we've been in going all the way back to July. When we hit its all-time high up here at 366 and then started bouncing with lower highs and lower lows. This is XRP, right? And let me just adjust this to touch these here. And then we had this huge drop. This is when we came all the way down to $1.25 on the 10th with everything else. And we came back up and then still held support on this line with a couple exceptions where we wicked below, just like back here. In fact, if I take another line and draw it, maybe not from there, and touch the bottoms of all these wicks here, these wick downs right here, where we had resistance first, resistance, support, resistance, breakthrough, support, 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 broke through here down to this level, came back up as support. And then here is where it broke down and hit that line again. We had upward trending. I'm going to get rid of that because that's irrelevant now. Let me get rid of this. And it only broke through this blue line two more times here and here, both times coming down to that exact same line. So if I bring that down a little further, this whole zone right here that I have blued out was the level. And I think I put a line right here, which I did, this blue line. I'm going to make it yellow just so we can see it clearly. And this one here, this is the apex that we're currently in. Right here. This shit disappearing on me. This yellow apex that we're in right now. I'm going to change this line to red. You have a couple support resistance lines in here. Don't really need them right now for this example. We're still in the overall downward trending channel. And we've bounced on support, not only this blue line support, but we even wicked down and hit this bottom support where we had a couple wicks down to already. And so this is basically the apex right here, I would say. And the reason why I have that yellow line there is because that's where this, after that big dump on the 10th, once we wicked all the way down to here, we came up and then we held support right there. That green wick right there was the major support level, and it's right on that zone that I have. This zone goes back to support resistance back here. And that's where we hit and bounce back up, hit and bounce back up. And we're in the apex right now of the downward trending channel. And this falling resistance level right here, we waked up to it. Tighten this up just to make it as accurate as possible here. I'm just going to get rid of this zone right here. This is too, it's in the way. This is what I'm waiting for, is this breakout right now. I'm going to just move this right to the corner. That makes sense.
Does this downward channel makes it more bullish or bearish?
I mean, it's bearish in the short term. It is a giant bullish flag. Like if I go up to the higher time frames, it technically is a big bull flag, but bull flags generally don't come all the way down to their starting point. So this is the starting point here of the bull flag. This is the flag right about here. Great bull flag. This, and this continuation down here, all the way back down to this level that it started from, not necessarily kind of invalidating the bull flag a little bit, but could be looked at as a falling wedge. I'll show you where that's happened before, kind of right here, where we had a very similar situation. It came all the way down to that level. Came back down to the level it started from. Nice bull flag, but went down too far. It did eventually break out of the upside. And then, but it just went sideways on the support before finally pumping back up to a higher high. And it did get a little higher, but, and it also, if you look at the, if you put a resistance line there, it held support up there for a second, went above it, held support, dropped back below, and then became resistance again, just like it was here. So what I'm anticipating happening here is probably something similar, where it comes, it breaks out of this little apex right here to the upside. Maybe it makes its way back up, breaks out, and then it could go sideways. It could just continue to do this before climbing back up. But I am expecting this pattern to repeat. I am expecting XRP to go up to new all-time highs. And I'm thinking that November 15th might be the big day. Is the government still shut down? I can't remember. I haven't heard. I think that is part of the problem with the ETF's approval. But I think billions and billions of dollars are sitting there waiting to dump into XRP ETFs, which I believe will cause the price. I think we will hit the $7.50 to $10 range in this bull market cycle by the end of the year at the latest, and possibly
shut down.
Yeah, possibly even much higher. But if we can get to $10, guys, if we get over $10, that is probably it. It's probably not coming back to this level. So, and yeah, that's a turning point. That's a big move. That's a big change in XRP, and then you're going to have derivatives and all kinds of things shaping up after that, which would cause a continuation of a price appreciation, in my opinion. Listen, some people might think that's crazy, and a lot of people are looking at just the market cap and saying it's not possible. There's too many coins. Market cap would have to be this. It would have to be more than Bitcoin. It have to be trillions. Market cap doesn't matter when we're talking about utility, what we're talking about, what it's going to be used for, and what the price has to be in order to accommodate the transactions on the back end. This is a little different. It's a little different than any other token, really, and it might be the star of the whole crypto world going forward. Bitcoin can continue to be a growing asset as a hedge against inflation, as a store of wealth, as a currency, or a currency, what do they call it? I think Trump announced that he was going to make it a reserve currency or a Bitcoin as a reserve to hold up the dollar, kind of like just digital gold, guys. We've been talking about this for years, actually. I think it's just finally getting to that point because Bitcoin doesn't really have the same utility. It's not as useful. XRP is like Bitcoin 2.0. XRP actually was created around the same time, probably even by the same developers, as far as we know. We don't really know. And it is probably better. It's probably better all the way around. Now, Bitcoin is decentralized. There's the difference. Bitcoin is decentralized. XRP is not. It's centralized. XRP will be solving, world financial solutions or problems. There'll be solutions for that, where Bitcoin will be used for something different. But you're not going to be, I don't think you're going to be buying things with Bitcoin. I don't think you're going to be buying things with XRP. You're going to be buying things with USD, digital USD, whatever it is, whatever the actual stable coin is going to be. It's going to be probably all processed on the Ripple network in the future. And there's a lot of evidence pointing to that, not only being possible, but actually being put into place right now as we speak. So, listen, I don't want to be caught. Can this happen? Well, look at this. I mean, just look at what just happened with Zcash. I mean, just over the last 30 days, this is crazy, right? I mean, look at this. This is what it'll look like when XRP finally flips the switch. It'll look like this.
That's what I'm waiting for. I know it's going to hit that too.
Yeah, I mean, and to say, oh, I've never seen it happen where, we just had price appreciation that fast. Oh, yeah, we have seen it, and we're looking at it right here. I mean, right here, guys, September 26th, this was $43. Okay, so just imagine right now we're at let's just go back a little further, went down here when it was $21 for Zcash. Okay, that was, a lot of people are like, oh, well, XRP hasn't done anything in years. Yes, it has. Okay, it was 15 cents a few years ago. It was 49 cents last year. That's 6x in a year. But this is like 20x in a month. And that can happen as well for XRP when the powers that be do what they need to do. And a lot of people are going to be caught off guard, and you might not even be able to buy it after that. It might be, I'm not going to say delisted, but it could be. But at worst case scenario, there could be a liquidity problem where you can't even buy it on the exchanges anymore. And so I would say, I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm just telling you what I've done. And that's just buy as much as I can now while it's still under $3.
Nico, I have a question. If it gets delisted, how can you do anything with it? Because if it's in a exchange or even on your thing, on your wallet, how do you sell it?
Wouldn't you just borrow against it with the bank at that point?
Yeah, you would want to, if you're structured properly, you would want to maybe have it owned as a business entity rather than your personal name, and you'll be treated like a business. You'll be treated like a bank at that point, where you could borrow against it, you could loan it to the institutions to use as liquidity and get paid a percentage, kind of like staking. The other option is to sell it on decentralized platforms. You can convert it to USDT on Phemex if you wanted to. You can convert it in your app on Decent if you wanted to.
But I'm sure if we get to that when we get to that point, you would help us out if
I mean, I'll do whatever is, whatever I can. I don't know everything, and I don't know what would happen if that happened, as far as, would you be able to send it back to Coinbase and then sell it and transfer it to your bank account? You may not if it's delisted, but if it's Coinbase delisted XRP before. I don't know if you guys remember, but they did it back when SRC, the SEC first filed charges against XRP back in, I don't even remember when it was, 2017, 2018. It was a while ago. maybe even a little bit later than that, maybe 2020, 21. But then they relisted it again. So because once they won their case, then that was over. And a lot of people had a lot of XRP just sitting there, not where they couldn't do anything with it. But if you have it in a cold storage wallet, or like on Decent, for instance, you can actually convert it right inside that app to USDT or any other crypto that you could send to Coinbase or any other platform to sell if you wanted to. You could also transfer it to anybody who wants to pay you for it, which a lot of people will at that point.
Have you been looking at XRP? It's gone up 5 cents in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, so let's look down here. I was in some hedged positions here. I am long and short on both Bitcoin and XRP just in case. I was up on the shorts temporarily here just because this was happening and we were dropping a little bit, but I was just doing that just in case we had another one of these moments where I don't want to get liquidated on my long, so I short until it comes back up. I don't care to make money when I do that on those. I'm not trying to close out one in profit and then stay in the other one because it's hard to time it. But what I want to do is if we have a brick through a wet paper bag moment where we have one of these, I'd rather be okay. That would liquidate my long, but my short would be very profitable, and I'd be able to close that out for profit, or at least break even. But let's go look at it right now on a lower time frame. This is let me go to the US. Let me go to a coin margin here. It's just for some reason Phemex is lagging on my USDT charts, but it's much quicker on my coin margin charts.
Nico, what is the advantage of being in both a long and short at the same time? Isn't that effectively the same as not being in any position?
Yeah. I think I just kind of explained it. Like if I'm in a long and it drops way down like this, if we have a big moment where we have a big wick down for whatever reason, because we were heading down and we are still technically heading down, right? And I'm in a long position, I could get liquidated on my long. If I go short, if I hedge it with a short, and usually when I do that, it's not even of the same value. So let's look. So I'm short here. I'm long with 8,000 contracts and I'm short with 4,000. So it's less. I'm risking less. But the reason why is because if we do have one of those big moments where we're coming down, bouncing on support, and it just wicks down for whatever reason down to a lower number, maybe to double bottom like we had this big moment here, I would get liquidated on my long because I don't want to be, I'm not gonna stay in that long. It won't allow me to stay in that long with that much of a drop. But I would make all that money back instantly on the short. So
Right.
it's kind of playing both directions just in case, or just until you know for sure which way it's going to go. And it's not safe, I will tell you that, and it's not recommended. And I never give signals in the group to hedge. I never give signals in the group to go long and short at the same time. I do talk about it, and I do, people in the group are doing it because they learn how to do it. So there is a way to do it where you don't lose on either trade, but you got to kind of know what you're doing. So like right now, I was profitable on the short right about here. Let me just refresh this and see where my entry was. Hold on one second. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not in any position on my XRP my XRP margin. I'm only on USDT. So let's go over there. But you can only short on USDT. I mean, you can only hedge on USDT where you go long and short at the same time. So let's look. Just waiting for it to fill in here. So here we go. Here's my long up here, and here's my short down here. There is a range in between. So if it was going to continue below this level, I was pretty profitable here, and then it went up. I was negative, but it came back down. I was profitable here, and now I'm negative again now on my short. It's okay because the more negative I go on this short, the less negative I go on my long. right? So as long as it's in between these two, I don't care because this is the range. So if it breaks out of this range and finally gets up to my profitable on my long, right? I could close the short. I could close the short and then make up for that on the long as it continues up, but it's got to break out of the range. Now, the other way to do it is when it's short, when I have both open at the same time and it goes into profit down here. Let's say I was going to get a wick down. I thought we were going to come double bottom here. We did not do that. And once it double bottomed and bounced, I was going to close out the short and take the profit on the short. But I would still be in my long and pretty negative. So I would have to wait for it to come all the way back up to here for me to be profitable on that one. And now another thing you can do is as soon as it gets profitable here, you can also put in another short. This is how people play this. It is risky and it is stressful to do because you're constantly in a state of profit and loss. But this is called unrealized gains and unrealized losses. You didn't lose anything until you closed the trade out. If you can stomach being negative in a trade for a little while, which I don't recommend you do until you understand what's going on. Look, I'm negative $686 total on all of these trades. But I'm negative, but I'm positive 900 on this one. So if I closed out this positive trade and took my $900 profit, which is the Zcash one, I would then be negative 7. I would be negative 7, 8, 14, $1,500 negative. So I'm $1,500 negative on these 4 trades and $900 positive on this one, which makes me a total negative of $700. So, but these are counter trades. So look at this. So I'm long and short. So I'm negative in both directions right now because I'm in the middle of a range. So this is why I don't post these kinds of signals, guys, because it's not only confusing, it's difficult to even do when you're doing it yourself, even if you know what you're doing, because it's not really recommended to do. I might do it sometimes just out of boredom, but the truth is that you can get out of them and profit in both directions if you know what you're doing. But if all of a sudden XRP just pumped right now to the upside, let's see. My liquidation is right here above my long. So if this just pumped up and went, I would go positive on my long, but I would get liquidated right here on my short. But if it kept going, I would make back whatever I lost on my short on my long. Now you might say, and you did comment correctly, wouldn't it have been better for me to not been in either one and just go long here when it breaks this resistance? Technically, yes, but it wasn't. In hindsight, is genius. It wasn't doing that when I placed the short. It was going down, and I was already in a long position, expecting that breakout. So what I did is I did the hedge after the fact. So I was long up here. Let me show you. I was long up here, and I was waiting for it to break out of this resistance level right here, boom, right here, and expecting it to. Why was I expecting it to? Because we bounced on this upward trending support. And we made a high, we bounced on it, we made a higher high, bounced on it. So I was expecting a higher high here. And I was expecting us to come up to this resistance, but we hit resistance and then dropped. And so when we started coming down below that support level, that's when I decided to also hedge it with a short. I didn't want to get out of the long because I think it could be a flip of the switch moment, guys, where we do take off on XRP. And so I am risking a little bit, but to me, what am I risking? I'm risking $600 on my short and $2,400 on my long. So about $3,000 total.
Can you put a trailing stop on when you go long or short?
You can. I personally don't, but here's why. So if you come over here to the TPSL and click on it, you can go to trailing stops right here, right? And you can type in the percentage of the trail that you want it to be, whether you want it to trail at, 10% or you can put in an exact price trigger, but let's say you wanted to trail at 5% or 10%. You just type that in on trailing stops or and do it that way, 10%, for instance. And so I don't do it that way because of the consolidation and the fluctuation. For instance, let's say it's going down and you're short and you put a trailing stop in at 10% and it does this, and then it pops up, it hits your stop loss and then falls further. Pops up, hits your stop loss, falls further. So if you're trailing and every time it drops down like this, your stop loss drops down as well, and it comes up and consolidates like it does, your stop loss might get hit. So I would rather leave my stop loss further away while it's doing this until I'm way in profit. So I personally don't use them, but if you're just going to be in one trade, let's say you got the bear market bottom and you go long on Bitcoin and you're just going to stay in that trade for a year. Well, yeah, then you could put, I wouldn't even set it. I wouldn't even put a trailing stop until you're way in profit, like hundreds of percentage gains in profit. Then put your stop loss into profit and then have it trail from there. But if it's too close, it's going to get taken out because we have too many wild swings and consolidations. So, I'd hate for you to go to sleep with a trailing stop, wake up, and the price is going in the direction you wanted it to go, but you got stopped out because your stop loss was trailing too close.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
No, like here, if you shorted up here and you were riding this down and you were expecting this to come all the way down to here, and your stop loss kept going down, going down, going down. As this went down, your stop loss might have been taken out right here. Boom. And then it drops further. And you'd have been, shit, I wish I would have stayed in that, but my stop loss got hit. And so that happens when you move your stop loss too close. Even if you don't have a trailing stop, that can happen. But trailing stops, they don't adjust for the consolidation. They just keep going 5%, 5%, 5%. As it gets lower, but if it pops back up 2.5% or 5% after it dropped 5%, it could hit your stop loss, take you out, and then still continue down. So, I mean, you can have one if you're paying attention, but I wouldn't just set it and forget it and then hope that all goes well, because the market's too volatile for trailing stops, I think. Unless you're doing it like a far percentage away, like 20% or 30% away. You can do that if you want.
Nico,
Yes.
I have a question. Okay. So I'm in a trade right now, long. My liquidation is at 1.1739. So I'm thinking about just not even putting a stop loss until it gets to $10 or higher. What's your thought on that?
That depends on if you're comfortable losing whatever your liquidation amount would be if it does drop down that low.
If it does drop down that low, but it's lower than what it did on September 10th, was it? October 10th?
Yeah, so that probably won't happen, but
Right.
But I didn't know that was going to happen. So
Right.
I can't say that it can't happen because obviously it can and it has, and we could have. Guys, last time I said what I'm about to say, it happened the next day. I said that the stock market, we could have a crash tomorrow. Do you guys remember that? That was like, a month or two ago, whatever it was.
It was your fault. Remember?
Yeah. And it literally did. Yeah. I said it would get dropped 20% tomorrow. And it literally did. It dropped 20% the next day, the stock market, the S&P. So
same day.
It happens, guys.
It happened right after your call.
Exactly. That's right. It was the same day.
It was your fault.
I was short, so I was happy. Do it again.
Right. So, and I, because I still think we could, guys, we could still be, even though everything seems rosy, XRP is getting ready to do all this stuff. We're in the last final stages of a bull market. The government is crypto friendly. All these things sound positive. That's when I get nervous. That's when I think the opposite of what everybody thinks is going to happen. And that means it could be a meltdown. It could be a 50% drop in the stock market, the S&P, which would be maybe a 5 or 10% drop again on Bitcoin and crypto. And if that happens from where we're at now, and why, some people are like, well, why would that happen? As that would just bring us a 15% drop again, would bring XRP down to that range that you were just talking about, probably in the $1.90, $1.80, $90 range. It wouldn't be as far down as it dropped before, but I wouldn't be surprised. Now, this right here could have been the double bottom right here at $2 when it just wicked down here, which was just 2 days ago, guys. and it bounced, and now we're forming a nice W on the 1 hour. Look at this. Nice W pattern coming up on the 1 hour time frame, which usually would indicate a nice pump to the upside. And so let's just see where would that lead us? Where would that bring us? Let's just say, yeah, and that looks exactly right. And I gotta get with Phemex and find out why things are not functioning properly on USDT. So let's just say this nice W pattern right here does what they normally do. We got possible pump to the upside imminent from this side over here. Needs to break out of that. That would bring us right up somewhere in this range, which makes nice sense because that is exactly here. Resistance, resistance, support, support, resistance, resistance. That would be the first stop right there, somewhere in that range. That would be right around the $2.55 range for XRP. And I can certainly see that happening. And then, but if you zoom out a little bit, let's go up to the 4 hour. This is really annoying me because it's lagging so much. It's causing me to have to refresh. It doesn't do it on the coin margin, but I'm not actually in a coin margin trade on XRP. So let's just look at this zoomed out a little bit. So that would bring us right about back into the range and right about here. We also had a nice head and shoulders there, guys, and we did drop accordingly. Now we have a nice W pattern underneath the major support resistance level. But there's something else. W's do normally break to the upside, right? But when do they not? If 70% of the time they break to the upside, why the other 30% don't they?
Up against resistance.
Up against resistance, exactly. So we got downward trending resistance, and that right where that right hand of the W is coming up is right where that downward trending resistance meets previous upward trending support, which is now resistance, and this yellow line that I have at the 230 range, which has been long running support and resistance. So it is possible that we don't break to the upside, and that is a continuation pattern going down further to low lows.
It did pop up to 237.
When?
About 10 minutes, 8 minutes ago, give or take. You look at it, it went up all the way to 237.
Yeah, I'm showing 233, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's 233.
It's on the coin M. It's the other XRP is showing it.
Yeah.
Hey, Nico, I got a question.
Yeah.
Hi. So real quick, I'm just curious to know when looking at analysis and stuff, how do the MAs and the moving averages play into planning? You know, I'm finding myself, and I've watched videos, and I'm trying to grasp the concept of using moving averages and the statistics and the trends in my favor when I plan my entries and my trades, whether I'm going long or short. And I don't know if I know there's a lag in the moving average, but depending on, 1 hour scale, 4 hour scale, 15-minute scale, planning your entry, how would you recommend for someone that's newer to understand the moving averages a little bit better so you can use that tool? Because I think I'm using it wrong. There's been a couple trades I'm up, and then the moving averages obviously are showing downtrend, and I don't catch it in time, and then all my profits go from, I'm 100% in profit, and then it's like, oh, I'm breaking even now, So if I'm looking at more like day trading or making $50 a day or whatever, how can I use moving averages in in my favor, or is that something that you can't do?
Well, what were you doing to get 100% in profit?
So I would put say like maybe $100, and I would use 10x leverage, and it would pump up, pump up, pump up, pump up. And you know, if it started dropping a little, I'd add a little bit of margin, and that way, you know, I wouldn't get liquidated. But then I'm looking at the moving averages, and I'm not understanding the trends and
you're
how
actually,
each.
you're understanding everything really good, because you're actually doing what you need to do to get. You said you would enter a trade, you would put your stop loss, you take your leverage, and it would pump up, pump up, pump up, pump up. And then what is it that you're not doing that you should do at that point?
I'm getting greedy, and I'm not pulling out when I know it's reversing. And that's been one of the biggest struggles. I've watched myself lose $400 in 2 days. I lost profits. I could have gained profits, and I ended up breaking even.
Do you need any moving average? Do you need any indicators when to tell you to do that, or isn't just being 100% in profit enough? Just take the profit, close the trade out.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Right. In hindsight, you know.
Yeah, in hindsight, but you're there, and so this happens to you over and over again, and you're not the only one. So I'm not picking on you, but
no, please do. It's a learning lesson.
Guys, this is one of the hardest things, and it seems like it should be a no-brainer, but it is it's a mental thing that we all go through sometimes because of the normal human nature of greed and fear and greed. Okay, so we are in profit. Like me, look at this. I'm $800, $966 up on Zcash. Why don't I just take it? Why? Because I think it's going to continue. I'm hoping that it goes up to thousands. But what if it just dumps on me when I'm not paying attention? Okay. And I'll be like, shoot, I should have taken the $1,000 profit that I made in 5 minutes. I mean, guys, if you just take profit, you will be a consistently profitable trader. And what's the worst case scenario that happens if you take the profit? It continues. Is that really bad? It continues in profit. Well, at least you capture gains, and then you live to trade another day, and you can certainly re-enter on the next pullback. So the way I look at it is, and here's what I'm going to do right now on Zcash. I'm going to, let's say 560, just to get it on the board. Let me just go over here to TPSL, and I'm going to put stop loss at $560. That's 100%, 110%. Boom. There it is. My stop loss, and that's 110% loss, rather, if I let it go that far. But since I'm that much in profit, I'm just going to move it into profit right now. So this is what you should do already, Sandor. You should, when you're 100% in profit, like you just said you are, move your stop loss to 50% into profit. So here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to move my stop loss right now to $683. That would be 50% from my entry to the current price. Okay, right now it's up at 735. And so if I'm not paying attention and this thing comes down on me, it's going to take me out with still maybe $400 or $500 profit. If I close it out right now, it's 1,074 right now. So if I close it out right now, make $1,074. It just continues to climb. But I know this isn't going to continue forever. I know it's not going to just keep pumping. That's not how these things work. So why not just close it out and take the profit right now? Because we're greedy. And so why don't I add more contracts? Why don't I increase my leverage? All that stuff. Because as soon as you do that, that's when you get bit in the ass. That's when it comes back down on you. And now you're greed, and then you kick yourself and you're mad because you did that. So what I do is now I'm up 1,130. I mean, as we speak, as I'm talking, it just keeps going up. But now, thanks for bringing this topic up, because I didn't even have a stop loss. And it could have easily dropped all the way back down to my entry, and I would have lost $1,000. And so that's a great example right there of greed. And we're all guilty of it. So I'm not picking on anybody. We all do this all the time, and especially when we're in profit.
Hey, Nico, real quick to add on it. So what I'm seeing there on your screen is a perfect example. So let's say you drop down to your stop loss, and I've seen some strategies where, okay, you set your stop loss, you take 50% profits at where your stop loss is at right there, because we're anticipating it's going to pull back a little bit. So then you're still 50% into your trade. You still can keep going. It can go negative. It can go a little positive. It can pump even higher. You're still in the trade, but you've already taken 50% of your profits. I guess how if I got a little bit more time on my hands, and so I'm really digging deep into the analysis part of it. Let's say we know it's going to pull back. It's going to drop. You might hit your stop loss. You take 50% of your profits, and then it's going to go back up. How, if you really want to take trading, like I want to really take it seriously and get into it every day and do it for hours on the day, how can I incorporate looking at the different time scales in the moving analysis, the SMA, the EMA, and into planning that? Because I notice, you can set your stop loss at resistance levels and support levels and take 50% profits when you're planning that you're going to hit resistance.
Yeah.
And so I guess my question is there a better way, or when you're looking at the different time frames, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the SMA, the moving averages change depending on the scale. How can we better understand that?
You don't yeah, I know what you're saying. So here, I mean, if you're scalping, if you just want to consistently pull profits out of the market day in and day out, or weekly, or whatever the case may be, here's a good example that what you draw support and resistance lines. As you can see, this has kind of been climbing in this channel, and it fell out of it here and retested and then got back in it and held a support, and it's still in it. So if I'm going to be busy, let's say I can't be watching the screens. Maybe I got to go take a shower. Maybe I got to go to work. Maybe I got to go get on another call and I'm not watching. So I put my stop loss into profit like it is right now. And what I could do is I could move it right up to under the most recent wick under that line, because if it breaks this upward trending support, then I don't necessarily want to stay in this, because that could be the time when this finally does drop all the way back down to a certain level. I don't know what level, but I don't want to be this high in profit and then come down to only this high in profit and then hope that it goes back up, because what if it just keeps coming back down? So I'll let it take me out here. So it takes me out here. And then I look later and I see that it dropped all the way down to here. It took me out and it's bouncing. And then I can reassess. I can look and say, oh, I see what's going on here. It's hitting this support level down here. This was previous resistance right here. Resistance, 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 broke through. It's coming down and retesting. And then I'll just re-enter here and then I'll just be in another trade. It doesn't matter to me, but this trade from here to here, I took $1,000 off out of it. Now that's one way to do it. And you can just, like there's the old saying, it's oversimplified, is that you can't go broke taking profit. But let me just ask you this. If every time you were in profit, you took it, would you be profitable? Would you be up?
I would say yeah, because it would, the return on my investments, it would even out. Yeah, my losses over wins would start, equaling out. And so, I mean, every win, even if it's one win could be $100, one loss could be 20, and then it could be completely opposite the next two trades. So
No. If you took profit every time you were in profit, you would be in profit. That was a trick question.
Yeah. I guess to elaborate, like if you see your moving 9, your moving average 9, right? It's at 695 on the live market, right? On the Zcoin.
Okay. Yeah.
So how do we, the current moving average, you got the moving average 9, the moving average 200, the 21, those are closing, right? So depending on what time frame you're on, I guess I'm having a hard time understanding what that means.
I don't use the 9. I just changed it to 50. So this is the 50-day moving average, and I didn't have it set on Z, but so here we are. We're above the 50-day moving average right now, and let's just go back and look.
It's 15 minutes.
So you're on the 15-minute chart. So every 15 minutes, that's what the last 15-minute candles average we're closing at.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, all right. I'm trying to grasp that concept a little bit. So if we're looking at that correctly, that's saying it over the next 15 candles, it's expected to drop down because the average is lower than what the current price is at. I mean, or am I seeing that wrong? I guess that's where I'm trying to understand the moving analysis part of using the tools in the system and trying to get ahead and plan more long term over what the moving average is, how I can equate that into my daily trading and even longer trades, but mostly daily trading, I guess you would say.
They simply act as moving trend lines. So if you drew a trend line and you were looking for a reversion to the mean and it coming down and bouncing off your trend line before you go long again, that's the same exact purpose of the moving averages. You were worried about the times that you should be looking for trades. I would focus more on the Asia session, New York session, London session, open and close. You get a lot of action during those times.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, that makes a lot more. That adds to the equation as well, because I noticed during the Asia session, and I'm up during those hours, I noticed the market goes nuts. While we're all sleeping here on the East Coast, the market's moving.
Yeah. So with that being said, personally, I don't trade the moving averages. I don't. Do I have them? Do I look at them? Yes. I also look at, for instance, let's just look at the MACD here. Hold on 1 second. Um, Yeah, I got some stuff on here
question for you.
For Zcash that I don't normally even look at. Hold on 1 second. Train of thought.
I think Bill, you recommended the EMA, was it 200 cross 50 and 200.
Yeah, most of your retail traders use the 50 and 200. So if you're looking at the chart, you want to see one, what everybody else sees, and two, what everybody doesn't see, right? And one of the things everybody sees is the 50 and the 200 period.
Yeah, so this is the 200 on here that I have, and I switched it from 50 to 200 a second ago to show you. But again, when I entered this trade and put the signal in the group, I wasn't looking at the moving average. Okay, so when you're in I think my point to you is, because of the problem you're having is not the moving average or understanding the moving average, it's you not taking profit when you're in profit. You seem to enter trades at a good time. You just seem to not get out at a good time.
Yeah, that's exactly 100%.
So let's not try to figure out another problem. Let's just figure out what the problem is. And you can learn the moving averages and you can learn all these other things, but your problem really is learning to be disciplined enough to just take the profit. Because if you just keep accumulating profits, obviously your account's going to grow and grow and grow. And it does get to the point where it doesn't matter about all these other strategies, doesn't matter about moving average, doesn't matter about the RSI or any of these things. If you're at 100% gain and you close it out with an 80% profit, let's just say, 80% of what is the question? Do you have $10 on this trade, or do you have $100? You said you had 100, but let's say you had 5,000. Let's say you have 10,000. And how, so, your 60% or 70% is thousands of dollars per trade or per day. If you were trading 10 times the amount of money that you are right now, and you did exactly what I just said and just closed it out every time you were in profit, you'd probably be up huge, right? So
yeah,
how do you get to trading 10 times more money than you have right now? By taking the profit every time when you're trading a little bit of money until it grows into bigger money. Just keep taking profits every time you're in profit. I have a problem doing that myself sometimes, but generally speaking, I try to be consistent. So, if we look down here, you can see there were times, let's just look down here, where the last 3 trades in a row were profitable. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 6 trades, 4 in the green and 2 negative. But one of my negatives was me reversing a position at a loss on Ethereum. When Ethereum jumped, it went the opposite direction I thought. So did I make that back on the other trades? Yes, but also you got to keep in mind, you guys should not be doing what I'm doing, because I'm also teaching. And sometimes I go long or short on the webinars or just on these calls just to give examples, even when there's no trade setup. And sometimes I stay in those trades a little too long, and I shouldn't. And so I'm literally risking my own money and risking hold on one second. Shit. So sometimes I'm risking my own money just to prove a point or to give an example. And that was not that's not what I would be doing if I was you guys. And that's not what I would be doing if I didn't have an audience that I'm trying to show stuff to. I would be just taking more profits when I'm just in profit. And I should just do that anyway, right? But at the same time, sometimes somebody asks me how to do something and I just do it, even though there's no trade set up, even though there's no trades. I said, okay, this is what you would do. Let me just look at the chart real quick. Which way do I think it's going to go? And I just open a position. And sometimes I get really lucky when I guess the right direction and I'm in profit. I wouldn't call it luck so much as that I did analyze it real quick. And if you put a gun to my head and said which way it's going to go, okay, I'm going to give you an example on how to enter this trade. I think it's probably going to go up from here, and I'll enter it. And I do this live on the webinars every week, and I end up in profit usually before I go negative, right? I'm usually always in profit relatively quickly, just like this Z trade that we're in right now. And the trick is the difference between making a lot of money or taking profits and letting your profit dwindle away is by simply not taking the profit. And we've all been in that position before. I brought this up many times before. How many times have you been in profit and then you stayed in it, or you just expected it to continue, and then it comes back down to your entry and now you're negative? And everybody raises their hand. Everybody's like, yeah, that happens to me all the time. Well, it doesn't have to, because all you got to do is close out that trade in profit every single time you're in profit, and you will be a consistently profitable trader. People in this group do that regularly. Let me go and show you, give you an example. We got Nomi and some other people. Nomi and her husband had I don't know if she's on right now, but her and her husband had like a 90% win ratio. I was averaging 70%. They were at 93%, something like that. And the reason why is because they didn't wait for TPs to get hit, and they didn't wait to move their stop loss in profit. They just took the profit. So that was a win. So their win ratio was much higher. So if you want to have a high win ratio, if you want, here she is right here, Nomi. You notice that some of these traders are posting ridiculous, 2,000% gains at 500x leverage. She's at 20x leverage with 117%. 41% leverage, 41% with 20x leverage. 53% with 50x leverage. 8% with 20x leverage. She's taking the profits, guys. She's not waiting for some ridiculous huge run up. Okay, that's how it works. That's how you become consistently profitable. And by the way, nothing wrong with this. No, nothing wrong with ridiculous percentage gains. And that wasn't even bad at 20x leverage. So good job, Joshua. But sometimes we see him, like Jake was, bragging about, 4,000% gains. But if you look, he was at 500x leverage, guys. And a lot of those was with very little money and no stop losses. So it's huge risk, but he wasn't risking much money. So it's okay, right? So if you want to play that game, go ahead. I'll teach you how to do it right now for free. You don't have to pay anybody else. Here's how you do it. You go on the 15-minute time frame. I think I talked about this on the last call. And whenever the RSI gets above a certain level and starts to drop back below the 70 on the dotted line here is when you short. Whenever it's below a certain level like this and it gets back above the dotted line, that's when you go long. Let's just look at the price and what happens when that happens. Here it is. You go long right when it gets above this, boom, and then you make money on that. And as soon as it gets back above this line, you go short. Now, could you just trade the RSI on the 15-minute time frame for scalps? Yes, you could. You're not always going to be right. But if you cut your loss, if you take your profits quick, look at this one. If you take your profits quick, look at this one. It double topped up here, but it was way down here on the RSI. So that was an indication that it was getting ready to drop. And it did. Look at this. Boom. And it dropped right below the dotted line down here. That's when you get out or you reverse the position. And as you can see, it just kept climbing after that. So, is that a foolproof way to make money? No, but it does work. But you also have to account for the fact that sometimes it can get above this right here, like right here, it got above that dotted line. And if you would have went short right there, as you can see, it went up much higher and you would have been stopped out here and maybe even higher here. And it just did this a couple times before it finally dropped. So you gotta wait.
Nico, I actually did that for the first time yesterday, but with no stop losses, nothing, just with contracts and in and out, and they made money real fast.
Yeah.
But it's in and out. You got to go in. You're watching it and
scalping. It's scalping, guys, which is ninja tactics, and it does work. And you got to be kind of glued to your screen. You got to be paying attention. You can't just set it and forget it. And there, by the way, there's guys that make a lot of money doing it.
And I was at 100x at 100x, thinking about going to 200x. So
yeah, were you on cross leverage?
Yeah, and it was real simple. The higher I went, I didn't have to put in a lot of money, but I was really ready and risking, saying, okay, this is if I lose, I lose. But again, if you watch it and you're not greedy and you get out right away, you make your money. If you stay in and you get greedy, you lose money.
Can you go higher than 100x on Phemex?
No.
So what platform would you use for that?
See, that's a question coming from greed right there. What leverage could you use to go higher than 100x?
I was on a completely different I was on a completely different thing myself. So I mean,
it's okay. I mean, MEXC is one of them.
Okay, yeah, just wondering.
You can go up to like 500x, I believe.
But MEXC is the one you guys want to use a VPN, and don't forget to use the VPN, and don't reach out to customer service unless you really have to.
Yep.
Nico, how do you toggle on the RSI chart? Because I couldn't figure that out. I know that's a simple question, but where do you find that?
This right here?
Yeah.
You come up to right here next to the candlesticks, go right next to that, indicators.
Oh, got it. All right.
And then type in RSI, and you got the regular RSI, which is relative strength index, and then you have stochastic. So I'm going to add stochastic on there now too to show you how we play the stochastic RSI. Is that I do it on the weekly, and we talk about this a lot on these calls, guys. And you don't need anybody you don't really need. It's a real simple thing. Is the stochastic RSI on the weekly is that when the blue line crosses the orange line to the upside, when it's down here below the bottom of this dotted line and it crosses back above the orange line to the upside, that's when you would enter a long. That's when the price is about to go up. And as you can see, that's what happened here. Now, what about here? Did it go up? Yeah, it did. But I mean, I gotta really zoom in for you to see it, because that was such a parabolic move that it makes all the other ones look small. But so right here, the blue line crosses the orange line to the upside, and then we did go up. Right here, blue line crosses the orange line to the upside. It wasn't below the dotted line, but it still crossed, and we went up. Blue line crossed the orange line to the upside, and we went up. So this is a patience game. Okay, so let's say it's right here and you just came on and you're just looking for the first time and the blue line is going down and the orange line is going down, but you want to trade. Well, this is when you have to have some patience and discipline and sit on your hands, because you don't want to trade in the middle of this. You want to wait for it to get oversold and then the blue line to cross the orange line to the upside. And then boom, you enter. Same with the top. So the top gets up here, it's overbought. The blue line crosses the orange line to the downside, boom, drops.
Would that work on the daily as well?
I think the weekly is more accurate, but yeah, it probably does. Now, the weekly, that takes a long time for this to happen. So that's not like in and out scalping. So if you want to do it on the lower time frames, you can certainly come down to the 15-minute and do the same kind of scalping situation, but it's not foolproof, guys. I mean, look at this. Blue line crosses the orange line to the downside. Now, remember, we're on the 15-minute now, and it did drop. So if you would have went short here, what happened to the price? It went up, up, up. That's called bearish divergence. It's going down on the RSI, but it's going up in the value of the price. So I would say it's less accurate on the lower time frames. I personally wouldn't do it. I don't do it.
Yeah, I found, and I tried doing that, and I found, and that's goes back to my question. There's a delay there, so you really need to be watching your screen and paying attention to the trends and trying to put everything all together, because it moves so quickly on the smaller time frames that if you're not in and out like you're saying, it reverses real quick, and those lines are a little bit slower to react than my brain's working, at least at this time and juncture in my life. So, but thank you for the clarification. That really helps out a lot on the moving averages.
You're welcome. And listen, guys, if something was that simple where it worked every time and just trade the RSI, trust me, guys, we wouldn't be doing anything else. But that's not how it works. And there are certainly all kinds of variances and all kinds of other things you got to look at. And so anybody who says that's their strategy and that's the only strategy and you just do that and there's nothing else you need to do, you're going to have some losses. You just better make sure that your wins exceed your losses. Someone asked me why don't I just take the profit on Zcash? I'm up $824. I was up $1,100 a minute ago. And that's because it is in this upward trending channel and it probably is bouncing here. But if it doesn't and it starts to break this upward trending channel, then I will say, maybe it's getting ready to stop. Here's another reason. Look at this big spike up. And we did not make a higher high. But then again, that's happened before. So let's look at this. Big spike up. We came down and we came back up and we did not make a higher high. So, and not only that, but it was below this upward trending support and it was hitting it as resistance. So I would say, oh, this might be the time when it's finally going to drop, and it didn't. So something different and strange is happening with Zcash. It does look like it's possibly breaking it now. Let me just make sure I got this line in the right spot.
Nico, why is this thing pumping like this? And is it a functional token? And why isn't XRP, is pumping like this thing?
Yeah, I am gonna take the profit on this one right now, and I'm gonna show you why. Now it could continue up, but again, this is where greed comes in, and we think, oh yeah, but it's gonna continue up, so I'm just gonna stay in, and then it does finally have its big pullback. And then you're like, shit, that was the time I should have really taken the profit. So if you just take the profit every time, you're that much in profit. And you could even call it a day, guys. So like, here's another problem. So I'm just going to go ahead and close it. Boom. Okay, just take the profit. But what if this turns around and starts to go up again? Well, I can just re-enter, but at least I captured the profit that I had so far anyway. So all I'd be doing is re-entering where it's currently at. But what if it drops after I re-enter and then I go negative, and now I'm negative and I'm losing the money I just made? Well, that would be a mistake. So we want to make sure before we re-enter that it is holding support somewhere and it is climbing back up. For instance, here, if I was in long here up $1,000 and it did this and broke out, I would have taken the profit right here. And then it drops. I'd be glad that I took the profit. Am I going to get in here? No. It comes back up, hits this resistance. I'm not going to take profit until it breaks this resistance. And then it doesn't yet, comes back up, breaks it. And next candle opens above, that's a long. That's when I get back in. So here, where is the resistance? Well, probably right where it's sitting. Let's just look. I mean, it kind of needs, so if it breaks below this level, guys, very similar to this one, if it breaks below this level and breaks below this line, I'm not going to long again until it comes back above this line. It may go like this. It may come down to here. It may come back up. And as soon as it gets back above this, boom, then and it holds support, I will long again. And it would be the same as if I stayed in right here.
Hey, Nico.
Well, also keep in mind with the Zcash is not being offered on every wallet platform. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Even if it starts to hold or draw back, if they offer it to the other wallets where people can now purchase it that don't know about it, that can possibly make it shoot up even higher.
Yes, if people are trying to buy, if people see on other websites or Facebook groups that Zcash is pumping and they go on their platform to try to trade in it and they can't because it's not available there, then they don't know what to do. They can't get involved. But then all of a sudden it gets listed somewhere, gets added to one of these other platforms, and then boom, 10,000 more people start buying into it and it starts going up.
Hey, Nico, along the lesson that you're teaching right now, you mentioned consolidation period in your signal part of your signal. How do we know? Is it when it pretty much trends sideways? That's pretty much a consolidation period for that support resistance level. I mean, and are we basing this on like the hour, 15 hourly? Because, of course, depending on what time frame you're looking at, it looks, it might consolidate sideways on the 15 for a few hours. And then is that what we're calling, is that what consolidation is when you're referring to consolidation, where it's kind of like in a lull, like it's fighting the resistance, and then you got support and it just kind of sits in that lull area, that up and down period for a while?
So every time it spikes up and hits a high and it can't get through it and starts to come back down, that's consolidating. It breaks through, pumps up, hits another high, and then consolidates. And then it breaks through, pumps up and hits another high, consolidates, pumps up, hits another high, consolidates, pumps up, hits another high, consolidates. This time it's consolidating right now. So anytime it hit a high and then came back down a little bit, and it's trying to get back above. So until it gets back above that high, it's consolidating. And what is consolidating? That's, it's people selling off. It's people taking profit who went long here. Maybe some people who went long here, people doing what I just did, saying that this ain't going to go on forever. I'm just going to take the money and getting out. Or people that have been riding this up for a while and said, screw it, I'm taking my profit. So we got, and at the same time, we got people buying. So if someone's selling, that means someone bought. So the tug of war with this right here, people buy, people sell, people buy, people sell, people buy, people sell, people buy. The difference between it going up, going sideways, or going down is that the buyers equals more than the sellers. There's more buyers than sellers. The price keeps pumping up. And there's liquidity in the market, so there's something for them to buy, and so more money keeps coming in, the price keeps going up, and then when there's a huge dump, a bunch of people took profit, or someone sold a larger amount, and then there's a domino effect that happens where people see the big red line and they're like, "Oh shit, it's going down," and then they start getting out, and boom, 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 dominoes start falling. And also people get liquidated because they're in longs with high leverage. And then that's a domino effect as well, sometimes to the downside. So it's just a big tug of war. Look at it as ebb and flow. Water goes out, water comes in, the tides. You got thousands of people. None of them see each other. They don't know what the other person has, what the other person's buying or selling. And they're just like me. I went long with like $600. I just closed it out with a $700 profit. And then, there could be 10,000 people like me doing that at the same time, where there's 10,000 people or 5,000 people buying at the same time. So we just have ebbs and flows, ups and downs, consolidation periods. And that's kind of what's going on a very oversimplified explanation, 5th grade level. But now if we go and look at liquidity pools, like on Bitcoin, for instance, we can see where there's a lot of money sitting. This is Bitcoin. We just sliced through a lot of this liquidity sitting up here, and we got a little bit more to go right up here at maybe 103K, 103.2. So it is climbing a little bit. And let's go look at it and see what it looks like on the actual chart. Right here, though, however, this Zcash is still holding at that support level. It is holding at previous resistance as support. And there's 2 supports. There's this upward trending support and this resistance line that it got above and held so far. Is it going to break through to the downside? Possibly. Why would I think that? Because we have a lower high here. We did not make a higher high like this one. We had a lower high and then it broke below. It did go higher, but then it just couldn't hold above it. This is an example here where we made a high. We went a little bit above it, but it couldn't hold, and then it fell. But it also fell below this upward trending support line here. It may not even be that great of an example because this is all happening so fast in such a short period of time. But if I go to the 1 hour time frame, what's it going to look like? Also, we had a moment, we did have what seemed to be a tight channel where we did break out and get back in. But if I hold this to the overall and just make that 2 touch points where we're holding the rim of the top of the resistance line, and then we fall to the bottom, hold the rim of the top of the resistance line, then we fall to the bottom, then this could be the support down here. So as soon as it bounces on that, we'll know, because we're going to need another time for that to happen first before we really count this to be the actual support on the bottom, because it could be. It could be. I mean, it could do it like this. It could just be a widening channel that's happening here. That makes sense too.
I noticed the RSI, it's hardly even going below the median line. And when
Yeah.
you switch time frames, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't be trading RSI on this one because it's not even coming down to the bottom before climbing back up again, especially on the time frames.
But isn't that showing oversold right now or overbought right now? Like a little bit.
Yeah, and it did it a couple times, and then the price overbought, and it just kept getting higher. So that's why
Nico, do you know why this thing is pumping?
I do not. I do not know the exact reason why we have all of a sudden buying pressure, but it is a I'm going to use a food analogy. Carbs beget carbs. The more carbs you eat, the more carbs you crave, the more you want, the more you eat. You can't, there's even a brand that their logo is, bet you can't eat just one. Right? What's that, Pringles or something, or some kind of Lay's potato chip. You can't eat just one. Why? Because they know that as soon as you start eating that stuff, your brain triggers you to crave more. And that's why people get fatter and fatter and fatter, because of carbs. Carb addiction is what causes the perpetuation of continuing to eat more than you should. You don't have that problem with just protein and fat. If you just eat a fatty steak, you can eat as much as you can until you're full and you're sick of it and you don't want to have any more, but you'll be satiated for a long time and you won't be hungry for a long time. Whereas carbs, you can just keep eating more even when you're not hungry because it's causing that. Same thing that what's happening when the price is climbing on a chart, the buying pressure begets more buying pressure. People jump on the bandwagon. People look at this and say, oh, it's going up, I'm getting in. And so more money just keeps coming in until someone takes a big dump, until someone sells a huge amount and that red candle drops and takes out all of those greedy people that just were trying to jump on the bandwagon, because those people really didn't know what was going on. They just bought because it was going up, right? And then sometimes they get hurt on that big sell-off. And so you see a continuation. Even when we're overbought, you can see more and more and more. Price just keeps going up until we have a big sell-off. And then
Is Zcash a functional blockchain, or is it just
I
like
think so.
Dogecoin?
Say again?
Is it just like Dogecoin, like non-functional?
No, Zcash is it's a privacy token. It's their whole claim to fame, and what they're basically trying to sell people on is that it's the most private crypto to be in, because they don't track, like on the blockchain, they don't track wallets. So if you're doing transactions in Zcoin or Zcash or whatever, then you're more private. So I think it's great. I mean, that's what we really originally wanted to get into the decentralized space for in the first place.
Nico, have you heard anything? Because this is just an article I saw because of Zcash. Have you heard anything on Monero? Because they said Monero could potentially just follow Zcash because it's that similar type of coin, and it's been sitting at 200-300 for a while. And they're saying it could pump up to possibly 10,000. I know it's exaggerated, but I don't know if you've heard anything in your radar on Monero.
On Monero?
Yeah, Monero.
No. I mean, it doesn't mean it. It doesn't mean it doesn't have a long way to go. I'm not sure if this is it right here. Let me just see. Just because I'm not aware of it, it's just because some things are not on my radar. I mean, we do have a nice, if this is it, is this it? MON?
XMR, right? The ticker is XMR.
On Phemex?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it's on Phemex, but
They took Monero off Phemex a while.
it's on Kraken. It's on Kraken. That's where I have it.
Okay.
Right around when McAfee got snuffed out, they took it off of Phemex.
Let me go look at something else here and see.
Interesting.
There's something going on with it.
I put a list of the privacy coins by
XMR.
market cap. There's a link on
XMR. It's delisted off of Facebook. I mean, not Facebook, off of Coinbase as well. Let me see. Monero, XMR. Yeah, no, I don't have any information on it.
Okay.
But since I mistakenly pulled up MON, let's just look at this one. What's going on here? So there's not much price history here, but this could be looked at as a big bull flag pattern with nice support and potential resistance here that we could be breaking out of any moment. So you guys can certainly keep an eye on that if you want to. I don't know what this looks like prior to this. This could be where it launched on here. I'm not sure if this is new. It is. It is. I'm not sure what this means. Anyway, yeah, I don't know about Monero, guys. Let's look at, we got Bitcoin. Let's go back to Bitcoin and see what's going on here. So we are in a very precarious moment here, guys, because we got, and I do have to wrap this call. I had a hard stop at 1:30 and I just texted him and said I need 10 more minutes. But we are in a weird spot right here because we're going into the weekend. Usually, sometimes things dump a little bit going into the weekend. But not always. We've already dumped, we've already hit potential support and resistance. So if I were to predict, I think this could be a calm before the storm. I don't know what's going on with the government. I'm not going what's going on with the government shutdown, but I am expecting a decoupling on XRP from Bitcoin sometime. I don't know when. It could be soon or it could be next month, where these two just stop correlating. But right now, everything still seems to be correlating. We do have a W pattern on both Bitcoin and XRP. Bitcoin needs to come up a little higher, and if it does break out, I guess it would probably just come up to this downward trending resistance, overall resistance line, but it would still be in this apex. So I would say, by the way, this is the range I told you about on last call. The range is between 98K and 110 or 111, 110.5, give or take. So we need to break out of that, out of this range. So even though we're in an apex, which is coming into the corner, a breakout is probably imminent to the upside or the downside. This all grayed out range here between 98 and 110 is the uncertainty area. This is we're ranging right now. This is called ranging. We're range bound, which basically just means that we're not going to go up and break new all-time highs until we break above this level, which is the 110.5, and hold as support. I would say even this yellow line here, which is probably 111.5, 112. And we're not going to have a bear market or go down to 91K unless we break through 98. So as long as we're in the middle here, we're ranging, which means we're kind of just going up and down and sideways. But so if you want to know whether we're going to go up and we're going to shoot to the moon, or we got to break this, we got to break the 110.5, or let's just say 111 to be exact. 111, we got to get above it. And are we going to go down to 91,000 and hit the CME gap? Well, maybe if we get below 98 and hold as resistance. These are the two zones that we're at. But look what happened. We came down and hit it right here. We bounced and we double bottomed right here at 99, which is close enough. That's pretty close. That's considered a double bottom. 99, 150. Boom. That just happened today. And bounce. Now, does that mean we're out? Is that it? No, not necessarily. Because I mean, we have not even made a higher high yet. We just keep making lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. But this was not a lower low. So that's important. We had a low and a little bit higher low, generally called the double bottom. And if this continues to climb and gets higher than this, great. If it gets higher than that, great. Hold support there, breaks out of this, great. We're on our way. But it still needs to get above 110, 111 and hold, which is this next higher high. And then now we're on our way to breaking new all-time highs. Now we're going to probably come back up to the 123 zone. And of course, there's a couple more higher highs that we need to get above, but that's usually how it works. We start making higher highs, and then no more are we in this downward trending channel. So if we just go, if I just go to a higher time frame and look, guys, we are in the downward trending falling wedge. And by the way, that is bullish. It is overall bullish. This is a falling wedge. And if I go back and show you the last time, we were in a falling wedge like this. I mean, just look at this. We had a top, double top, falling wedge down to this upward trending support. Right? This is the last time it happened right here. We hit 108, 109, double top, falling wedge. And we came down and we bounced on 74.5, previous all-time high right here. Resistance at 73.8. We hit it again, broke through, retested 74.5, bounced, and broke out of this falling wedge to a new all-time high. 112, 123, 124.5, 126. And now we're doing it again. Now, and we came right down to this upward trending line. We wicked all the way down to it. And we bounced. So I would say now is a good time to probably get prepared for this upward trending spike to the upside. And because if that happened, now the only difference here is that when we did it here, we were at the very top of the resistance level. And I don't think we are there this time. Unless I move this way over here and move this way down like this. Let me just pull this in and do it like this. And maybe we were. That would be cutting through this, but we never held above that line. So we went above it, fell below, hit resistance, resistance, went above it, fell below, went above it, fell below, resistance, resistance, went above it, bounce, 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 fell below. So we never really held it. So that's fine. Same here, wicked above it, fell below, resistance, resistance, wicked above it, fell below, and went right up to it right there. So that makes sense, just as much sense. This upward trending support, we fell below and we dropped to the bottom resistance. I mean, support line. So, you know, if I look at this, guys, if we fall below the 98K, then we're in bear market territory. We're in drop to 91K level. That's the CME gap down here. But if, as long as we stay above this line and we break out of this falling wedge, that's very bullish. So just keep an eye on that today because there's nothing really happening at the moment. It still has a little bit of ways to go to break out of that. But if that happens, you're going to see not only Bitcoin, but XRP and probably everything pump. And that could be this could be the last hurrah for Bitcoin going into the end of the year. And then decoupling, XRP still shooting up much higher, altcoin season. All that means is that Bitcoin loses dominance. After it has its last pump to the upside, it could go to 140, 150, no problem. Bitcoin can hit 150, 160 in this bull market by the end of the year, in the next 30 days or so. Certainly could happen. And then it starts to lose dominance, and then XRP and some of the other altcoins continue after that.
Nico, can you look at ETH real quick, real fast?
Real quick and real fast?
Yes, sir.
Yes, there we go. Hold on. Whoops, that's on USDC. Let me just go to Coin M to make it better. ETH looking very similar. I got the same drawings on there. Let me just get rid of some of this other stuff. I don't know what that is.
That's what I was going to ask. Was it kind of doing the same pattern and acting bullish too?
It's a little different. I mean, it is in a big bull flag, and it's been in one for a while, and it did not come all the way down to the start of this flag, which would be support somewhere in this area, this red line, yet. Could it? Yes. So this is why I say we're not really out of the woods yet, unless Bitcoin and everything else gets above that breaks out of that level. But this wick down right here was just yesterday. Look at this, was November 10th. It dropped all the way to this level, and it's the only one that has gone lower than that since then. Not only that, but it actually fell and then came up and found resistance at that support level. So ETH needs to break above the 34, this resistance line right here, which is 3430, somewhere around there, 3400, and get back up into this downward trending channel in order for it to be able to climb back up. That will happen, I'm sure. But if it cannot right now, I mean, look at this. This is the 200-day moving average. We were above it, above it, above it, got below. It's like it's piercing it right now. Let me look at the daily. Let's look at it. All right, so this is not good. This is the Williams alligator on the Williams Alligator, we whenever the green line crosses above the blue line and the orange line, we usually pump to the upside. Whenever the green line crosses back below the red line and the blue line to the downside, we dump. And look at all three lines are pointing down right now. There is no curvature happening to the upside. That's only Williams Alligator is usually only accurate on the daily. I am on the daily right now. So this is the problem, guys. We have a lot of conflicting data. So we have some things looking bullish, potential bullish, and some things looking bearish. And so there's confluence with some of them with Bitcoin and some of them that are already acting differently, like ETH. ETH is acting different. And I'm not sure why. ETH should be pumping to new all-time highs. If XRP takes off, I think ETH will take off as well. I think $10,000 ETH is probably in the cards for the bull market. If Bitcoin gets to 150, I think we're looking at probably $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 for Ethereum.
Thank you, Nico.
You're welcome.
Can you look at SET real quick?
Don't see it. SET?
FET.
F or S?
F, Frank.
Okay. I mean, we had a couple falling wedges where we broke out to the upside, and then another one here, we broke out to the upside, but it just keeps making lower lows. So let me just take this whole thing and draw it like this. Get rid of some of this other stuff here.
Don't miss your appointment, Nico.
I know. I'm waiting. My phone's going to ring any second. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we could, it could still be in this downward trending falling wedge right now. There's not enough data going back on Phemex prior to last August, but this is downward trending. Now we do have a nice pump in the short term. This is the daily time frame. We did have a big pump here, but where's it going? Is it just coming up to the top of this downward trending resistance line? Let's go down to the 1 hour. The 1 hour,
Looks like a cup, doesn't it?
looks like a huge pump happening right now. But yeah, it could be a cup right now. It's coming up to resistance. This is where, remember, this is where we dropped off the cliff right up here when we had that big drop. And so it probably looked more like this. We had support holding at this level. Support, fell off the cliff. It actually fell through and then retested as resistance right there. Boom, and then dropped. And so it's just coming back up to that level probably. Let's just bring this out and see where that goes. Well, isn't that interesting? That's probably where it's going, guys. And so what you would want to do here is not go long. You want to wait on this one to see, is it going to hit right here and bounce and back down? Or is it going to go through? If it goes through that and holds as support and it gets above that line, which was previous support, that's where it's going to right now. It's trying to get back above that line. That would be bullish. That would be great. But until that happens, I'm not going to get into that one. I would wait. Hey, bud, hold on for me 1 sec.
Yeah, no worries.
So yeah, that's what I see.
Thank you, Nico.
No, you're welcome. All right, guys. So really, I'm kind of in between. I'm a little, XRP. I'm in a few negative positions here, both long and short on XRP and Bitcoin. I'm just waiting for something to happen, and what I'm waiting for is a breakout here on XRP of the downward trending resistance to break to the upside. Then I will reverse my shorts if that happens, because we're probably going to go up to this level, which would be back up to the 250 zone. But if we cannot get above this, and this is just a continuation of downward trending, which I don't really see that happening, then we might be winding into an apex here. But if we do come back below this level at the 212, around this zone here, 209, 210, then we could see further dumping but I would still be very cautious to sell all your crypto because that just is a very temporary shakeout. That's going to be a temporary shakeout where we could see a big wick down just to double bottom somewhere. I don't think it's going to come this low. This might be it right here. And then that's it. We're out. And those people who got scared, weak hands, will all be shooken out and they'll be mad that they got out. So just be really careful there. I will post any changes that I see in the chat, but I think this is what I'm waiting on right now. I'm waiting to see a change here going into the weekend. This is an obvious downward trending resistance line right here, guys. So you can draw that on your chart and just wait for that breakout. And it could be imminent. I mean, this looks imminent. It's getting there. It's like very close, right? So, and it's a nice W pattern happening. So technically that means to me that we might just bump up to this level going into the weekend. All right. I will make any changes that I see. I will post in the chat and in the Discord and the Signal channel. Get on. Bill is having a onboarding today at 2. If you're new, get on that, and we will see you in the Zoom. I might go live again tomorrow, guys, just because of what's going on in the market. So look for a post in the Signal channel. I might just go long again tomorrow, and we'll continue this conversation. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. If you have any questions, just ask it in the main chat. Tag whoever you want to answer it. And if you want anything from me, just send me a DM and remind me. Yes.
Thank you.